Hello, everyone. Welcome to my follow up for Ants from Up There, Black Country New Road. Whew, what an album. What an album. Here are my ratings for the album. As you can see, I have it at a 4.5 out of 5. I think it is near perfect. A few, I wouldn't say issues, but just like things with the album that I'll get into here track by track. So, intro. Nice, simple chamber intro, not much to say here. It's a motif that you hear later on in the album as well. Chaos Space Marine is one of the more chamber-based tracks, very dense and complicated, but it's a lot of fun and it keeps moving, which is interesting. There isn't really anything else quite like it on the album. It's the most, I think, progressive song. Concord, nice, restrained Midwest emo tinge track. I don't think it's the best on the album, but I think it's still compelling. It's just a very kind of simple indie rock type track with a pleasant Midwest sounding guitar line on it. Bread Song, what a stellar piece of music. I love the indie rock riff with the swell in the middle. Fantastic breakaway to the guitar and the percussion in the last half. Really good. Good Will Hunting is like if the Chainsmokers were good, because you have like Billie Eilish style, go to Berlin for a little while. It's like those are the things that Chainsmokers would say, but then there'd be some stupid breakaway in the middle. But great musicality on this one. It has a nice riff. Haldern, it works well as a come down from Good Will Hunting and a calm before the storm that's coming up. But it's just one of the more dull numbers here. It's just not very dynamic, and the ideas in it get stale a little ways in, at least for me. In an album context, it might work fine, but as a track on its own, it's just kind of like a weird lull. Mark's theme, very nostalgic feeling track. Feels like a Pixar score almost. It's a nice little interlude before the end. Not much to say on it there. I'd probably actually give it a 3.5, come to think of it. It is a very pleasant little interlude. The place where you inserted the blade, fantastic chorus and crescendo, very emotive song. Burn my house. Phenomenal composition and production as well. And you got that whole chorus like, ba-da, ba-da. It's just blah. Anyway, Snow Globes. The post-rock highlight on the album, for certain. And possibly the song that stuck with me the most. I love the layering up and down and the percussive climax in the center with the emotive singing and yelling. It's just devastating. And then you follow that with the violin come down afterwards, and it's just a tearjerker. The only thing keeping this from a 5 for me is that the come down / delayering of the instruments at the end can be a bit tedious. Particularly when listening to the track on its own. It's like, okay, I get it. Take away that guitar, take away the bass. Now we're just on the last line. And it's like effective the first time you hear it, but on re-listens, you're just like, all right, I've come down from the song. I'm going to close it now. Basketball Shoes. It feels like 3 songs in one because it essentially is. I mean, one of the band members had said so. So it's a bit disjointed in that way, but it being the first song written for the album makes the other songs flowing from it more potent, I think. I don't think it makes Basketball Shoes potent, but it's like a well from which water was drawn. And so it doesn't necessarily make the well feel super special. I don't know. That's just my feeling at the moment. First part is all right. Second part is good. Last part is freaking transcendental. Just epic and deep production. In the climax, just stellar stuff. Stellar stuff. That last like 3 minutes is just whew, fantastic. Listen to those on good headphones or speakers. Yeah, so this album is really interesting because it's taking from a lot of different influences, and it's producing something that is very interesting for the time. I say that because there's obvious Slint influences, some Godspeed influences. They're pulling from Arcade Fire a little bit. And like, I'm not even going to go into the lyrics because like there's been videos of people trying to analyze the lyrics, and they're very compelling and interesting to figure out. It's in that way, this album feels kind of like a In the Airplane Over the Sea, where you're just listening to the lyrics and you're like, you're painting such an interesting picture with these words. So I'm not even going to get into that, but it's come out at a very interesting time because as I was listening to this on repeat listens, I kept thinking of Disco Elysium. If no one has ever, if you guys love this album, play Disco Elysium, or at least listen to the Disco Elysium soundtrack, which is very post rock based, also with chamber elements as well. But Disco Elysium is like this. It's an amazing story, a fantastic story, and thinking about that and this, like those are two prime examples of like millennials making fantastic art for the era that they're in. Coming down, like with the baby boomers coming down out of the Cold War, it's just this like very, I wouldn't say despondent, but just trying to like grapple with hardships of life that are very particular to millennials in a very mature way, very mature way. As mature as millennials could be without having to pull from like past eras and stuff like that. So if you guys have played Disco Elysium, I think you kind of get what I'm coming at here, because the guy who made it is born in '84, and as far as I know, everyone in Black Country New Road is quite young, like around my age. I'm 29. So yeah, fantastic album. Eager to keep re-listening to it, and at some point get to their debut album as well. But really good, fantastic album. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the video. And until next time, everyone, Godspeed.